welcome once again. This is the 40s Lounge. You know what happens. Wholesome conversations where we try to bring a balance between the madness in society. I'm your host, Fadela.
And of course me, Danny Boy, son of David, the great one.
There will never be.
And there has never been.
Danny Boy.
Yes, please.
Wiki Megwad.
Wiki, it's been a tough week. Not really on my side, but the whole country has been mourning the demise of one of the biggest entrepreneurs in the country.
So,
that is
DJ CK.
DJ CK.
Yeah.
DJ CK has really tried to help the nation in terms of entrepreneurship, and as a result, as much as people may talk a lot of things about him, but I think he's put bread onto many families, and for that I think many families should be appreciative. I'm looking at the likes of people who work for Capital FM. If it wasn't for this man, they would not be having a job. I'm looking at the likes of people who have worked at Hako. If it wasn't for this man again, they wouldn't be having a job. The list is endless. So
let me tell you what inspired me about DJ CK. When he went through a divorce, with his ex-wife, he made a statement I still appreciate. Jamaa alisema, I will make sure huyu dem aliniacha nikiwa chini.
Atanipata
nikiwa juu. I will make sure I will be in her face everywhere. And that guy made it. Dem ex alikuwa anatumia Hako, mafuta zake, anatumia bairo zake, anatumia kila kitu. Alafu akitoka kidogo unasikia DJ CK. If me CK encourage me, si ati hivyo, lakini ex lazima akiona anaona Fadela anasema nilimwacha juu CK aliachwa akiwa down. Wife alimwacha akiwa down. Jamaa akarudi akajimake up. Unaona? And for me that's an encouragement. If you put priority over provision instead of vision, there'll always be a problem. If a lady decides to mistreat you because of provision, let's learn from CK. Died at 80, one of the billionaires of this country. I learned, alisaidia one of the dames in IBM. Walikuwa na wakapa. Akamchukua akampatia IT to Rivers.
Unajua kitu ile.
Sa ile IBM iliona tu CK ameshika udem Ghanaian amemweka to Rivers IT. Walimpromote Africa. Director of Africa IBM. Usicheze CK angekushika mkono.
Unajua kuna Uda Mundro who socialite. She said, unajua hakuna kazi kama socialite ama influencer. Tafadhali achaneni na hizo kazi. Nilikuwa nasoma story nyingine jana. CK alishika Uda Mundro akamchukua, unadu nini? Akasema hata yenyewe sina kitu new do. Akamaanisha cosmetic company. Alafu kuna kama unapata some of these bloggers who are very idle, the likes of kina Edgar Obara. Tafuteni kazi tafadhali. Kuchafulia watu majina itawasaidia. Now yesterday I'm reading another blog from another guy who is trying to buy for MP. Kama umekosa kazi, even that MP won't get. Robert a lie. He's just a liar. He's trying to talk things about CK. How many lives has he changed? So let's focus on the positivity, the positiveness that this guy has brought. I think he's really impacted the nation, and even he has left a legacy, something that we can talk about. His ups and downs, every man who's been in entrepreneurship, they'll tell you that it's not a smooth sail. It's not a smooth sail as most of the people would want to imagine.
Let me ask, on that note, because today we are discussing about entrepreneurship. How was you? Most people don't know, I knew you for over 20 years. Buddha, tuonge tu kweli, ukitoka Bungoma, unaanzisha kitu hii Nairobi, wewe ni wakukaa mimi wakuzaliwa.
Wewe wakuzaliwa.
Bahati. Fikira za bahati.
Okay, let me.
How has been your journey in terms of entrepreneurship as the CEO of Vumbi Radio?
My journey, I would say, I would attribute most of my upbringing, and especially my entrepreneurship journey started off with my mother.
Okay.
Most people don't know this, but my mother, right after high school, she said, Daniel, you're going to be very idle. And I wouldn't like you to be idle because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So what did she do? She handed me a confectionery company. All right?
Okay. Confectionery company for our viewers.
It's a mini bakery. It's a mini bakery. It does a confectionery. So she handed me a company that was doing donuts. Okay. She went and stole the recipe from a Muindi. Said, Dan, if the Muindi can do it, I have hired his cook to teach you the recipe and give you people who can work for you. So I started off with the confectionery in Bungoma town, and within a few months, I was talk of town because I was distributing the whole of Bungoma town with my donuts. Every shop had it. And so I had a very hard, tough job of supplying in the morning one side of the town, in the evening the other side of the town, and I had 3 employees who were working for me.
How old were you, Sayo?
Just immediately after high school.
Come 18,
19, right about there. That's when I'm starting now to my entrepreneurial journey. And one thing my mom told me, see, one of those days, some of those people who were working for me decided to be striking because they know I have enough orders. They refused to do the work. My mom told, I went and complained to my mom. I said, I'm going to fire this. They said, why are you firing them? If they're doing what you can't do, you cannot be able to hire people to do what you cannot do. Figure out, find out how it is. So right from there is when now my business, when it started going down, of course I came to Nairobi, and I had a passion for changing young people's lives. And that's where I think Fadela...
Before we get to coming to Nairobi, so one of the lessons we can learn from your confectionery business is that if you're doing a business and people are trying to hold you to ransom, it would be best for you
to learn.
So ni kama ile Wahindi, before mtoto akwe CEO wa biashara akiwa 28, amepitia kwa watchman, amekuja kwa kitchen. So ukileta maringo, yeye
anaweza ingia kwa watch, anaweza ingia kitchen, afanye ile kazi wewe mwenyewe unafikiria hiyo indispensable. Because I've realized in Kenya, Fadela, the problem is the people we hire sometimes, they will create a scenario where they want to become indispensable. Such that if I don't show up to work for Fadela, you will be stranded. And so to avoid that, my mom told me, just learn everything that needs to be done. Don't just tell me that you're a marketer of your own products. Go into the kitchen, go into the ovens, go into creating that product that people so much love. And so I had to learn it.
Now you came to Nairobi.
When I came to Nairobi,
Sasa
nimekam. I said, I don't want to duplicate the same business in Nairobi because the dynamics are a bit different. And so one of the things I was passionate about is I was passionate about God, and I was passionate about young people. And that's the moment when I started a group called Conquerors Fountain Yard. Conquerors Fountain Yard, God gave me a lot of grace, and I was able to mentor a lot of young people. Some of them are excelling right now in music. I will not do name dropping, but you know your celebrity.
For example, kama akina Hope Kid walikuwa hapa,
DK kwenye beat. KOB King of Boost. Amos, who is with Amos and Josh. Remember Amos used to sing praise and worship very well. Nowadays I see he's very confused a little bit. He doing some funny style, but he was a very deep worshipper. And among most of those people,
I can also attribute. By the time we met, and I got to come into your stable
as the chairman.
I came into your stable. That's 20 years ago, and Conquerors Fountain Yard, and then I ended up becoming your vice chairman. And one of the things I can testify, bro, tulianzisha kitu, the whole of Eastlands. We started creating conferences. We created a platform for people. The whole of Eastlands. What wakiuliza, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Yetu ilikuwa, can anything good come out of Eastlands?
And that's why we see Fadela, you remember Kina J Blessings when they were still young kids. They were still young. And he had, you remember he used to do Fruity Loops. He wanted to focus on Fruity Loops business, to be a producer. Ultimately he ended up as a director. Some of them found their niche and they ended up as pastors of some of the mega churches in Kenya. And that I just attributed to the fact that I heeded the call of God. Because at that time, young people, you remember when we used to meet every week, 3 times a week. And we would do, if you're excelling in drama, you do drama. If you're a preacher, you do preaching. If you are a singer, you do singing. And so every holiday we always made sure we had conferences, we had concerts, some of the biggest, you remember, we had them, we recall. And we were able to nurture people's talents, and we didn't see it then. We are seeing it later.
Now we are seeing it, wisdom in hindsight. So the entrepreneurship that we were creating, we were forming the next generation of entertainers, the next generation of ministers, because right now, tukiongea ukweli, the bishops naona sahi wametoka Koma, Eastlands, akina Pio Yole. So in terms of entrepreneurship, in that perspective, coming from the confectionery business, now you're coming to the ministry aspect. The entrepreneurship that was created, we were bringing out the gifts of people. so that they can realize their hidden potential
that God had put in them. Because without you noticing and realizing what God has put in you, there is no way you'll be able to excel in life, because you go to the direction and the gifting that you have. And so right after that, Fadela, I switched again and I started Flamekeeper Publishing. Do you want to ask me about that?
Now, let me ask you. You see, most people don't understand. In terms of entrepreneurship,
Yes.
there is a season that comes that a turn is necessary.
A switch.
You know? And that turn causes a switch. Okay? So, I'll never forget one time Bishop T.D. Jake said that when it comes to marriage is like ndudi. si gari ni ndudi. Okay? So, mi nikipiga kona, wife anafaa kunishika na nyuma. Tunapiga hii kona.
Pamoja.
Akasema, in terms of marriages, they miss it at the turns. It is also true, said of entrepreneurship, most people miss it at the turns where it is time to switch.
And that's exactly why, Fadela, sometimes people say that you can just excel in business because you have business acumen or you went to business school. I tell people this, sometimes you don't need all that. All you need is to be sensitive to the leadings of God. Because at that moment, I was adamant to make a switch because I was used to pastoring these young people, and yet God at that point needed me somewhere else. And so God had to orchestrate something and make sure that he dried the well. Okay? He dried the brook so that I could move on to something else because I was needed now somewhere else into another service.
Wait, there's something we need to encourage entrepreneurs. Drying of the well,
Yes.
is so that you focus for the next.
For the next.
Ukishinda hapa hautaenda next.
You will just be enjoying your former glory and your present glory when God has greater things in store for you. So let's encourage people who are getting into entrepreneurship. When you realize there is always a time for you to notice that the grace for you to be doing certain things is over.
Yeah.
Like for instance, when you feel like you're no longer enjoying what you're doing, ask God, go back to the maker who has the manual. He'll tell you probably it is time that you moved on to something else, or you can still hold on. It's just a season that you're going through.
Flamekeepers, ilikujaje? Najua uliandika kitabu, nakumbuka tulienda ukauzia wazungu ikaisha, iliprintiwa America. Kwanza ako ka story, Wakenya walikataa, America ikakubali.
So Fadela, after that transition, it happened so quickly. I sat down, I wrote a book called Rediscovering the Pearl of Servanthood. By the way, it is available. You can order copies by calling my number 0723811857. If you want to get a copy, I just realized that some of them are still at Evangel. They're also being used for leadership at Daystar University. So when I wrote that book, I wrote it under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. And I wrote it, Rediscovering the Pearl of Servanthood was just simply a book that was highlighting the power that comes through serving. You see, in the world, people think that if you're going to be called a boss, it's about how many shouts you make and how many people you instruct, now how many people you command. But the kingdom of God is the other way around. The more people you serve, the more greater you are in the kingdom of God. So the book is based on servant leadership. And so when I wrote that book under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, I told God that this book has to see the light of day. I approached most of the publishing companies that we have locally. I submitted my manuscript for reviews on end. I knocked doors.
Walikwambia maneno nyingi.
Wakaniambia maneno nyingi, nikasema my mother did not teach me to take no for an answer.
So let me get it straight. Africans don't believe in our own Africans, so they told you so many no's.
I knocked on every top publisher I knew. I was visiting there every day. Every day I'm saying, please, I just need an answer. I'm being told no. I told God, what is this? God told me, open your eyes, expand your horizon. So and then I of course I submitted it in America, and the rest is history. It was published in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Mustang, Oklahoma. And so after that process, I looked and God told me, you see the kind of mediocrity that exists here in Africa, that people who are authors will never see the light of day, even with the ideas I put in them. Now I was wondering, Fadela, where do these publishers who purport to be publishers per se expecting to get authors from, if they are not picking books from local publishers, from local authors rather. And so I told God, if I've gone through this challenge, then I think there's a solution that is needed.
So ngoja, so wewe ulijua ni book, but in the process of the book ikaenda kukua company. Entrepreneurs need to understand that sometimes the bait is what leads to the whale.
Good.
Okay? Because to get a whale, you have to use the bait. So unknown to you, now we are talking in hindsight. What was the book passion? Was actually the publishing company.
Born. And that's how Flamekeepers Publishing was born. And within a short period, just when you follow the leadings of the Holy Spirit of God, or whichever being you subscribe to, you will always find the proper map to where you're going. Because right now you need a compass, and the compass that you get it from from the person that you believe in. For me, it is God.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so I attribute it to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And so when the Holy Spirit gave me this direction and I followed it, within 1 year, do you know how many books I had published? 1 year, I had done well over 50 titles. In 1 year.
Niliona ulifanyia mpaka ma businessman, ulifanyia kina Bishop JB, the works.
I did for Bishop JB, I did for Bishop David Mureithi, I did for all the top bishops in the country, but that's aside. I did for all the motivational speakers.
Pepe
Minambo, when he came to my office, I don't like to say this, but he was really beaten down because out of his motivational speaking, he was not making any money. All right? Not enough money to sustain him. The guy was on Futsubishi. So when he came to my office, he told me, this is where I am at and I'm stuck. I need to scale to the next level. I told him, you need to do a book because readers are what? Are leaders, but in order for you to be a person who's in authority, you need to be able to grow your extra wings. You need to be an author so that you can be an expert. So he told me, I don't know how to write. I told him, don't need to know. Just send me your thoughts, I'll put them into a book. Unknown to me, this would be the most best-selling book that Flamekeeper will ever do. We did Be Inspired Before You Expire. Do you know how many titles we sold within 1 month? 20,000 copies, and I had been told that here in Kenya, you can never do anything more than 1,000 copies. Pepe Minambo, within 1 month, he had done 20,000 copies. He came to me driving an X-Trail. I said, I salute you, sir.
No,
Yes. Then, past that, I was able to do a lot of books within the space of time that God had allocated to me to be able to run the company. I have done well over 300 titles. I have published for Alan Wanga. I have published for Rosemary Karaoke Moshoa, the daughter
of J.M.
Karaoke. And with that,
wait,
the Bible says,
hapo ndio limit
Baba nilimmeet for the first time. For the first time. The Bible says this, Fadela, that a man's gift will make room for him and it will bring him before great men. People tell me, we see you with pictures with Baba, how did it happen? I say, if you follow your gift, a man's gift will do what? Make room. For the first time when I published that book, we called Baba. Baba came to Mamba Village. We launched it. Next time when I'm doing Alan Wanga's book, FC Leopard was fighting with Gor Mahia and Mashemeji Derby was just not good. We said again, Baba, can you come and grace this occasion? And I respect Baba for that. He always shows up. And so the rest is history in terms of Flamekeepers Publishing. At some point, because of the track record and the experience that I had gained, and this is what all entrepreneurs need to learn, that you need a portfolio, something that can be able to create your name, something that people can refer back to and say, this guy can do this thing. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're a preacher, then give us sermons that you've preached. If you're a musician, give us songs that you have sung. If you're a photographer, give us pictures that you have.
So nipo watu wa track record.
Track record.
Hata kama unauza confectionery business,
piga picha tuonyeshe. So within that time, I was able to do the presidential decrees for South Sudan. When Salva Kiir came to power, he was looking for a reputable company within East Africa that could be able to do unmatched work, close to what America can do. And that's how come.
But you don't say.
That aside, before long, Equity Bank came and they told us, can you do for us financial books? Good money. But it came through a lot of experience as well.
So, wait, before we go for the break. So now you have this experience.
Yes.
Governments now are coming.
Corporates
now are coming.
Yes.
They are knocking. Personalities are knocking.
Yes.
Challenges entrepreneurship. Fame na favor haingii kwa kichwa sasa uko na baba yani. I think entrepreneurship they blunder when they let fame get to their head. Am I right?
Let's address that when we come back after the break, Fadela.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 40s Lounge. Remember, this is the Entrepreneurship Conversation. We'll be right back after the break with the CEO of Vumbi Radio. None other than the son of Nebere, the great one, There will never be. There has never been. Daniel Babala. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the 40s Lounge. This is the entertainment segment. Sometimes we bring the business startup segment. And today we have none other than the guy himself, Buddha.
Yeah.
She introduced watu wakujue. Unajua wengine washakusikia.
Yo, what's up my people? It's your boy Minako hapa ndani ya 40s Lounge. Yeah, tumekuja kupiga ma story na kina Fadhela na Danny Boy.
Niambie boss, hii safari imekuaje?
Safari ya
Kila mtu ana story yake. Yako
ni ngumu, but nashukuru Mungu ametupatia hiyo courage na hiyo moyo wa kupush mbele. Yeah, but challenges are there. And yeah, but still we are progressing.
Minako, just highlight, like right now you have how many songs?
I have 15 audios.
Okay.
There's only one video in Litoa 6 months back.
Shika Kitambi.
Yeah, Shika Kitambi.
How is it doing so far?
So far so good according to me, because you see it's my first song like out there, so I didn't understand the dynamics of marketing and stuff, but niko na watu kama tao mbili tao tatu.
hiyo ni poa, hiyo ni
mambo hiyo ni poa. So imechukua 6 months saizi tangu hiyo video itoke. So na try to avoid that thing again, because saizi ukiona niko na video tatu ziko ndani. So na try to work on more projects so that the next time I'm coming, like kuna hiyo continuity.
So Meja aliulizwa na Kitambi utaweza? Sasa wewe umekaa umetuambia tushike hiyo Kitambi. One pack, 6 pack.
Bana. Unajua idea actually ya hiyo ngoma ikam like napatanga wasee wa troll wasee, unaona wasee kuna Kitambi and
Hii kwanza hii yangu. Lakini kuna complain.
But ule ukweli ni ati toto is unajua wengi wazee wenye vitambi ndo wana unajua hiyo maneno.
Wako na mula.
So inabidi tunawaambia washike Kitambi tu.
Sasa Minako, see, watu wengi hawajajua ati Minako, apart from music, you are a holder of a degree. In IT from JKUAT. What prompted you, instead of venturing into IT, to choose to focus on music?
Actually, I hold a bachelor's degree in business information technology. You cannot separate music from ICT. They go hand in hand.
Explain.
I mean, like even when you're shooting the videos, when you know the audio production, everything is ICT. Even the marketing is digital and stuff. Okay. So you really can't separate them. What I did in campus, I'm applying it in music, because you see, I did business information technology. You see, I have my company, K Music Mainstream. That's why in all my songs you'll hear K Music, K Music, K Music. That's the business side. And you see, it's really helping me, you know, because I'm building my own company. That means I understand how to, you know, I don't have the finances and stuff. Definitely it's a startup. So some of the skills I learned in school are the ones I'm applying here. Because like right now I've told you I've already done 3 videos. You see, it's not like I have that learned some money to go do the 3 projects, but there are some skills which I learned in school that
You're applying.
That I'm applying.
So let me ask, so things have changed to a place whereby musicians of our time now need to have the wisdom to understand the changing times.
Yes.
Others utabaki umehanga.
And apart from that, you see, if you have the talent and you don't have the business side of it, you'll end up being exploited.
You see, Fadhela,
so
that's a point.
So it's good you understand the business side, and that's why actually I look up to people like Jay-Z. I look up to people like Akon. You see, these are people who came in. Like Akon came with the convict music. Jay-Z came with, you understand?
Rockefeller.
Yeah. So those are the people I look up to. And from where I want to go, the degree I acquired from JKUAT is helping me to reach the goal.
Yes, Danny.
Because you see, for a long time, people have been thinking that most people who go to music, rather, they go there because they have no other option, because they lack education. Because for a long time, sorry to say that, but people have never really taken music seriously like business until I think the other day, this Dangote guy said he should call himself a Tory. He's called Diamond. Is when he's trying to show people that business can be handled as music can be handled as business. It's not just an entertainment. It's not for people who don't have anything else to do.
Unfortunately, you see, the way we grew up, tumefundishwa kwenda shule, kumaliza uajiriwa ofisini nini. Nataka
kama kijana wangu anaenda kwa pilot.
Mimi nitakwambia kitu kimoja, msanii.
Kiswahili chako chapendeza. Kwani wewe ni wa ukone?
Nyumbani ni Pwani. Msanii
basi msanii tuambie.
Msanii akona kitu akona ukiniuliza mimi. Akili yake ni kubwa zaidi ya mtu ambaye mwenye cause music hakuna straight line hivi. Unajua si kama mtu mwenye 8 to 5. Understand? Kuna dynamics mingi sana in music. Na ukiniuliza mimi personally musemaga a normal human being akona senses 7. Sawa, watu wanasemaga tuko na senses 5. Mimi ukiniuliza mimi nasemaga ni 7. Imagination. It's another one. Na kuna memory pia. Umeelewa? Kwa nini naziitaga senses mimi? Ni juu unaona kama tukienda shule kuna mtu anaweza asome kitabu kimoja a whole day asishike kitu. Na kando anasoma 2 hours na ameshika. Sio kweli? The same na muziki, unapata kuna msanii unapata anakuambia ameishwa na idea. Na kuna wakati kuna Chris Brown ideas aziishi. Unaona? They always invent. Exactly. So msanii ni msee lazima ukuwe na akili kubwa. Cause lazima ukuwe na hiyo the creative side. Lazima understand the business side, na kuna hizi vitu zinafanyika kwa background wase wengi hawazionaje.
Unajua kuna kitu umesema, nisamee, unajua mimi ni mtu wa shehe lakini najaribu sana. Kuna kitu umesema nikiwa darasani, mle darasani, mwalimu alikuwa anasema this boy is building castles in the air. Nikiwa shuleni alikuwa ananiambia he's daydreaming. Lakini kufika mahali nimefika na mahali nimefika nimeona daydream sana kuliko mwalimu. So ninakubaliana na wewe, imagination ni sense.
Yeah, it's a sense kulingana the way me understand it, yeah. But imagine, so when was an imagination in a sense, so in a like it puts you ahead of the others. There's a quote here saying imagination is more important, I think, or powerful than education. Yeah, because it gets you ahead of. You see, I can send my mind 10 years ahead
into the future where
yes,
you've not
yes.
Sasa, Minako, now that you're in music, do you think at any moment you still be able to get back into your line of business where you have graduated from?
No, there's no getting back. Like I'm already into it. Cause you see, under K music, it's a business. So sisi acha biashara nirudi kwenye.
Sasa kama ama group pia unafanya business. Unajua magroup pia ni business. Na wanakufuata kila mahali msanii. Unafanya nini? Hiyo ni business gani? Unaona mnaweza business hiyo unafanya.
Business ya muziki.
Minako.
Unajua sasa ndo pale nakwambia kuna discipline, kuna nini katika muziki. Understand? Leo hii ukiwa na jina warembo watakuja ni wengi. Sasa lazima ujiulize
sasa business yangu hapo ni gani? Business yangu hapo ni gani?
Unajua
pia ni fans.
Unajua kuna wale wanakuja kwako, malengo yao kwako ni kutoa pesa. Kutoa wewe pesa.
Na wengine malengo yao
na wale malengo yao ni unajua business.
Because that is your field. You need to understand. Because
kuna wale wanataka kutoa pesa, unajua
hapo Minako hapo sikubaliani na. Unaona kama Mr. Mupento ameshikana na Recross pale, basi kuna symbiotic relationship kwa vile pale kuna ndoa na pia kuna ile biashara ile.
Yule alikuwa
Diamond alimwacha, lakini unajua pedigree ya Diamond haingemfikia.
Kuna Diamond
haya pedigree ya Diamond iko hapa, iko hapa.
So akaleta business.
Ni business kwa muziki. Sasa
ndio my example wako. Sasa so unaweza semaje hapo juu hiyo business
ya Hamisa na Recross? Okay. Recross ni msemjanja. Unaona? He's good in business, tumpatie hiyo. So wewe ukimuona paka amefika mahali amemchukua Hamisa, lazima kuna kitu anataka kufanya naye. Hamisa pia ukiona amechukua hiyo opportunity, lazima kuna kitu pia ameona. Maana Tanzania Hamisa ile ukweli ni kibiashara anafanya vizuri. So mimi naamini kuna biashara. Hata wengine ni yao.
Angalia kamera, ambie ule anaona mu encourage upcoming. Kimuziki, kibusiness.
Msanii yoyote upcoming, mwanabiashara yoyote upcoming, hapa nje sio rahisi. Sitaki kudanganya ama nini. Ni kugumu. Na utapata watu wako out here just to frustrate you. Usifikie malengo yao juu. Kuna wengine wako na fear zao na kuna wengine wako. Lakini wewe usiache watu wa wako frustrate, wa get into your nerves and stuff. You focus. Ukiona mtu mwenye ana try kukurudisha nyuma, wewe mweke pembeni, endelea na safari yako. Maana wewe ndio unajua kule unataka kufika.
Unajua nimeona wewe unaenda kuwa Diamond. Usitusahau kwa hii show. 40s launch tutakuita. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 40s launch, the entertainment segment. Next week it might be your business. It might be your side hustle. But we here at 40s launch, we support and encourage. We'll be right back.
Wewe
Red Nylon.
Usidharau kitambi wewe, mimba kupata bure kitambi pesa ama minyo. Shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi tukate ngoma tucheze kama wagenge. Shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi tukate ngoma tucheze kama wagenge. Weka misifa ngoma tukate kama vile vijembe, tukerekete tupinde pia tulinde kabisa, nyoroke watu pate tabu kabisa, maana sio movie halisi, rada ni kutesa na odi ndio si ucheza. Fungisha demu kwenye meza, fundishe vile tunacheza, na mwisho beba mwendekeja, cause wewe ni yule ninja. Kereketa midundo, fuatisha kila kona visa, datisha kama fundi wiza, katambe ngoma na ibambe. Shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi tukate ngoma tucheze kama wagenge. Shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi tukate ngoma tucheze kama wagenge. Kando kati nengua kami, jina fast ngoma ni bambe, fundi janja onesha wase, vile shaku tumeipanga. Pose kama mia ninja, pose kama mia, pose kama mia ninja, pose kama mia, pose kama mia ninja, pose kama mia. Hivyo ndivyo tumeipanga, misha tukijibamba, wale wa mauno wakitutama na kuvunja taka bila gharama, cause sisi ni wanachama. Misha tukijibamba, wale wa mauno wakitutama na kuvunja taka bila gharama, cause sisi ni wanachama. Shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi tukate ngoma tucheze kama wagenge. Shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi tukate ngoma
ngoma tucheze kama wagenge. Pare 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 tucheka nane, tukichora vile keja ni makenge. Chupa na milupo na wana klande, pose kama mia mana tuko nare. Pose kama mia ninja, pose kama mia pose kama mia ninja, pose kama mia pose kama mia ninja, pose kama mia mana tuko nare. Uno kwa uno zungusha mame, tamu ya kupiga ngoma suguana. Kichwa na mkongo kitambi nyonyo, nywele nikishika na kupa fimbo. Muda wa kutuma salamu kwenu, mana siku nyingi huwa uko bize na kupiga pare na mazela. Ila leo papasa tambi, shika kitambi, shika kitambi, shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi shika kitambi mama, shika kitambi tukate ngoma tucheze kama wagenge. Shika kitambi, shika kitambi, shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi shika kitambi kaka, shika kitambi tukate ngoma tucheze kama wagenge.
Mimi na hicho kitambi chako nijipate.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Uvumbi Radio, the 40s launch edition. We are talking entrepreneurship with none other than our CEO, our boss, Daniel Wabala. Boss.
Yes, Fadela.
Watu hawajui, na kama wanajua wamekuwa kitune kwa issue. There was a period whereby, and people don't want to accept that entrepreneurship is a challenge because you're always chasing after the next idea. And there was a time wife alifika, akakwambia utoke, akakufukuza, akakwambia uende, and that was your lowest moment. Only for 2 weeks later, 6 million ikaingia account. Ebu encourage my entrepreneurs. Kwanza wale wameoa.
Especially entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, and especially if you have a spouse or a partner who can't understand the journey of entrepreneurship, it can be extremely hard. And because you see, you're not relying on, you're not salaried, so you don't have per se, you don't have security in terms of permanency. If you're chasing deals for tenders, you know how long it takes. There's usually a process that involves even you getting tenders and getting deals done. It is not just that you abracadabra, you walk into an office, in a corporate office, say, I'm delivering this and it'll bring tomorrow. So for people who are in entrepreneurship, one of the hardest things you need to have an understanding partner, but you also need to have a partner who is willing to be patient with you, to walk with you through that journey. Mine wasn't. And so at some point when my finances started dwindling, my businesses were not doing so right, she told me, hit the road, Jack, give me a mattress and a duvet. That was the most confusing moment of my life because I didn't know where to start off from, because I was walking away from barely everything that we had built together, Fadela. And so it was a dark moment for me, and I've gone through phases of depression. I'll mention some of them, and they all come because of, I'm looking at my past successes, I'm looking at my present, and yet I need to be focusing on my future as well. Yeah. So at that point was my lowest moment. Luckily, we had just done some work for Equity Bank. We got some good money, and I was able to kick myself out of that depression quickly. And so immediately after that, I had to think of the next idea, because if publishing wasn't working for me at that moment, I told my partner that let's venture into a different business. And that's how now, Fadela, we got into entertainment. Yes. So with
entertainment now ilikuwaje? Unajua showbiz maneno.
Showbiz manenos is showbiz. Showbiz is showbiz. Please don't allow your son or your daughter to get into showbiz if they are not ready to get. If they don't have shock absorbers. Getting in, we thought it is just easy peasy. With the money we had made from this deal, I told my friend I'm willing to put in my money to do my first pilot so that I can also learn about entertainment. I used to like drama. Although I wasn't in drama, but I used to like drama. I used to like writing. I used to like writing fictional stories. And so for me, this was a journey that I was willing to experiment on. Getting into it, it wasn't rosy. It wasn't like when I was starting off with Film Keepers Publishing, where the company just took off immediately. At this point, this Kumbe, it was a very difficult, it's murky waters. We already have players who are already in that same pool. Makatel. And I have to, Makatel. So fighting Makatels, I did my first pilot for Caretaker, and it costed me a whooping 80,000. Knowing that I would recover that money once I submitted this Caretaker pilot to media houses. Kumbe media houses have cartels. You grease me, I grease you. Voila! Unaenda Mnet unaambia si poa, and the way I had invested heavily in it, my friend. So ultimately we had to branch out, partnered with another guy again, got into entertainment, did a lot of shows, but again we are submitting them, you're getting rejections. You're submitting them, you're getting rejections. I hope you're getting what I'm saying for them. Ultimately we ran broke with my friend, and we just abandoned that whole thing, and we decided let's venture into the world of apps. So we took off and went to India, Ahmedabad, to try and create an app that has never seen the light of day.
Good. Entrepreneurship as now your entertainment umeingia. So what were some of the lessons learned in entertainment that now when you switched again to building an app? Because when I hear you, and I think I've mentioned this to you after reconnecting with you after many years, mimi nikikusikia naonanga kina Zuckerberg, wale wasi wanajenga wanauza 50 million, then wanaingia ingine wanasukuma miaka kama 2-3 wanauza 100 million. How do you know kama hiyo entertainment hii imekataa, switch it, Flame Keepers imefika mwisho, switch it?
For me, I normally look at the grace of God. If I find I'm struggling too much to do something, I usually go back on the drawing board and I ask God, do you really think it may have been a good idea yesterday, but do you still think? Because I usually try to align myself with the will of God at the moment, so that I'm in tandem with what God is doing at the moment. Sure. And so sometimes you'll find that you're lingering into something, you're struggling onto it until now your last drop, when God would have wanted you to move into something new. And so all the time I have to keep on reinventing myself, so that I can be relevant both to myself, to my generation, and to God. And so within that time is when the apps were just coming in. And Kenyans, we didn't have proper people who would be able to do proper apps. I am not trying to demean what Strathmore and JKUAT are doing, but we were not at the level where India is. And so we needed that experience, and so we went with my friend to India and stayed there. I found my experience there was mind-boggling, because I could find that in one company we had over 6,000 developers who were coding, different for iOS, different for Android, and different even for graphics. And I said, wow, this is a different world. No wonder America is outsourcing all their applications to India. So we had gone there to develop an app called Ajira. Again, it didn't see the light of day. So on coming back, we couldn't pursue that. We decided to get back again into entertainment. And so my friend we were frustrated. We were rock bottom. We were contemplating running away from this country, because this country has rejected us.
Let's encourage someone. Let's encourage someone who's feeling rock bottom. Amechoka. Labda hiyo ndio inampatia hope ya kuamka kesho.
The God who has placed you wherever he has placed you, he is taking care of you. I can assure you that he has plans for you. The Bible is very clear, it says that he has got good plans for you. So don't feel like you're alone. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just take it back to God. So when we were in that process of thinking, God, what next? Because here we have debts. I have faced auctioneers many times. I have been auctioned many times. Now I'm on my last with my friend. We're saying we can't survive here. Let's move to Rwanda. Maybe there's greener pastures there. But just before we left, he said, boss, can we get back to what we used to do, like what we're doing? We had a show called Hot Topics. Can we get back to it? But at that time, my depression was really heavy, and I told him, I don't think I'm ready to get into the public limelight yet. Because having been a public person, I'm just tired with that whole process. Having done radio on Truth FM, I'm saying I don't want to be known anymore. I just want to live my quiet life. But if you think you can, we're living in the digital space. You can be anything. I took my phone, I recorded him. I told him, please, you want to entertain people, you have something to say. I recorded his first video, and this guy has done amazing things. Ultimately, he moved on to Energy Radio, Kiss 100, and now he has his own radio station. I applaud you, my friend.
You know, there's something we need to encourage people. In one of my journeys of life, I was working for this media company. So, mimi niko hapo, nimekaa 2 weeks. Managing director tumeingiana, tunasukumana. One lady akakuja akaniuliza, Jasian, hii yako ni ya wapi? Nikuuliza, what do you mean? Akaniambia umekuja juzi na manze unaingiana na kila mtu huku, hii yako ni ya wapi? Akaniambia hii yangu ni ya Kitui, yako ni ya wapi? Brother, nikakaa hivi nikasema na deal na watu wakubwa. Nikamwambia si tuongee saa 10, wewe kama tuongee saa 10 kutoka morning mpaka saa 10 ni wiring in my brain. Nina deal na watu huenda kuconsult, wanatafuta. So alipokuja saa 10 akaanza, so yako ni ya wapi? Mimi nilipiga magoti brother, nikainua mikono juu nikamwambia hii yangu ni ya maombi. Akaniambia acha ujinga. Akaniambia niambie hata kama ni Tanzania tutavuka, tutavuka tuende uniosho. Nikamshow from then on mimi nilijua in terms of entrepreneurship, waona kama hapa kama una source ya power to rely on. You see, there's something you're saying, you keep repeating. As much as God alikuwa involved, talking entertainment, umechapa nini, you'd still come back to God. That's your source. Kuna watu wengine unadu nao biz, source yao si God, si jajare. Hawa wanaenda ngai, abadi shingororo, anapack Benz, anapack Range Rover, anaingia kwa kibush. Hapo anarudi anakwambia I am blessed. Hakuna blessed.
So, but you see, Fadela, these things are happening all over. We live in a spiritual world. I don't know why people... You remember yesterday when we were in studio and you were asking me this?
Yeah.
Hard work. Remember the question you asked me?
Yeah.
Between hard work, smart working, and
spirit smart.
And spirit smart. How would you prioritize them? I would say spirit smart. Fast.
Yeah.
Bless God fast.
Yeah.
Because we live in a very spiritual world and people don't know this. But people go to extend and lengths to be successful. And if you don't realize that you're fighting with people who are already consulting on spiritual levels, you'll find that you're fighting a losing battle. True or not true?
Very
because
true.
even in politics where you're getting yourself into, okay, there's a lot of people who go to witchcraft to be able to appeal to people, to be able to get ahead, to be able to win elections. Businesses, entrepreneurs, you find that there are people who have been told that they go in their offices, they have scars of human beings that are fresh so that they can continue to sustain their businesses. But for how long, my brother? When you have God that you can kneel to and you can ask him, Jehovah, this is my business, please prosper it and bless it. And the Bible is very clear, it says that the blessings of the Lord, they make it rich and they addeth no sorrow.
When I was in my lowest moment, nilikuwa lowest moment, hata mimi nilikuwa kwa depression. Nilikuwa sherehe. Tuko na watu wa siasa tumezunguka. Kila mtu yuko sherehe. Jamaa kapinduka kaniambia, "Na wewe Mungu anakupenda." Nikashinda tuko tei. Sherehe na donjo. Wewe unataka kuniambia story ya Mungu hapa iko wapi? Nikamsho, "Wewe kwani upendi Mungu?" Akaniambia, "Wewe Mungu anakupenda sana."
Unajuaje?
Nikajua manze my friend. Hapa network atuko same. Siko same, nikaanza tu kusema, "Father, plead the blood of Jesus." Lakini uko tu hapo, I plead the blood of Jesus kwa kiroho. Because sasa wase ni tei, lakini huyu mtu anaanza kuambia, "Wewe Mungu anakupenda."
Unajuaje?
So you're right in what you're saying.
So Fadela, just for the purposes, because we're winding up,
Yeah.
Later after my stints at some of the radio stations I won't mention.
No, we want to come to Uvumbi and continue.
All right, I had a really tough time trying now to switch from being a producer for one guy and producing a radio, being part of the creation of a radio show. And I won't go into details, but I was not remunerated for the work I was doing. I abandoned it, went back to Sharks. I was under heavy depression. Just went to spend time with my dad so that I could get my family back together.
There is somebody last year whom I saw on social media, could not believe alirudi Sharks. Okay? Ebu encourage that person. Kuna mtu alijoke FB akasema ati ameenda tao nini bag yake ikaibiwa. The next day akaenda hii gari ya exhauster hii ya mavi ikamwagigia, mtu akamwambia Nairobi imekukataa, rudi Moshara.
But
Hebu explain that.
I'll say it's
no rudi tena from go back to
Bungoma. I had to go back to my dad and just sit with him to reflect and to get my bearings back. Sometimes it's always good for resetting. When you find that when you find yourself in that depressing moment, go and find a place where you can find peace and quiet. And for me, Bungoma was it, because my dad was there and we had enough good time for me to be able to reflect. So ultimately my dad said, Bungoma is not for you, my son. Just go back to Nairobi and do what you know how to do best. So on coming back, I started a blog. And the blog was taking...
KCB Lions Day. Unajua kuna watu walikuwa wanaona manze, hata tulikuwa na Queen. Queen anakuona KCB Lions Day. Queen akaniambia, "Yenyewe God upatie watu knowledge na wisdom." Ulisimamisha wase kama watano mpaka Kev Mulea akatoa mita na ulikuwa unataka 750k.
How it happened was this: I didn't apply. I had tried to apply to be on KCB Lions Day before, but I was not considered. So ultimately, one day I was just when I was very low, very depressed. I will not tell you how I was, but I was not on. I was on substances at that time. I was called. I received a call at that point because I was just idle and I was just running a blog that was not really making any headways. They said, "Dan, you have been highly recommended and you're supposed to be on KCB Lions." I said, I don't have a company right now because ultimately through the cycle of entrepreneurship, I had sold all my company. So I didn't have any company that I would pick. I told them, I don't have a company. They said, we don't care. You are a smart guy and you needed to be on the show. So Fadela, that's the end of my story. The rest, you'll find it on Uvumbi Radio when you're talking.
So, as we come to a conclusion, matters entrepreneurship. Now Uvumbi Radio. Unaisema aje sasa? Watu wajue ni nini, what do we expect from this next phase of your
globally, internet radios, online radios are the next big thing. We've taken a long time in terms of our, I'm not blaming our systems in terms of licensing and in terms of growing, but we are supposed to have abandoned the terrestrial medium a long time ago. We should have moved to digital space a long time ago because it has got endless opportunities where we can be able to provide jobs for our young people. But when we have some small cartels that are running small mediums, and you find that you can just be able to get a job. If you don't get a job into this station, then you can't get on that other station. Then that means that if God called you to be a broadcaster, you will never have a chance. So I will even encourage the government to be able to allow us to open up this field so that we can get more people into employment. Because you see, our institutes for mass communication are churning out people every day. Where are these people going? They will not all of them, of course, end up on social media. Some of them have got a passion for voice. Where are they going when we have very few channels that they can be able to explore their talents, their God-given talents and their giftings? And so Vumbi Radio is right now creating a platform for those people who feel that maybe they were rejected and maybe they still qualify. Okay? Under Vumbi Radio, we're not just focusing on broadcasting through voice, but we also are focusing on doing videos and TVs. And so this is a platform where we can be able to grow and nurture our own local talent. Fadela, I'm telling you, look at a state like California. Its GDP is way higher than ours here, Kenyan. And it is solely dependent on what? On filming. Filming is big business, and I think it's even bigger business than tourism. If the government of Kenya is willing to grow our GDP, it is something they need to consider. People like us who are in entertainment, nurture us, grow us, and if possible, President, please, hata tupatie ka loan. Kala ulipatia mayouth, tupatie tafadhali, because we can do great things. We can create our own Hollywood here. I was happy before when I saw the governor of Machako saying he has Machaud. I was waiting to see that coming into fruition, but politics, he went and concentrated on politics. So right now Kenya needs people like me to come and provide jobs. Anything else, Fadela?
Thank you for the opportunity once again. 20 years ago, ulinige opportunity kwa your entrepreneurship. 20 years later, niko ndani ya Uvumbi. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this show. You've heard him. You're still yet to hear about him. It's just the beginning. Ni 40's launch. It's the new 20. Habari ndio hiyo. Kijana chipukizi machachari. I hope you've learned a few things about entrepreneurship from Danny Boy, and I believe we have encouraged you to keep on doing your hustle, keep on learning. The learning curve is always growing. From us, from 40's Launch, we want to appreciate Johnny Impressions Westlands. Thank you for your support. We want to thank you, Golden Chef, for your support, and the many companies which are coming on board for TVC. We appreciate. From us, from 40's Launch, remember to share, encourage someone. And as a result, kila asubuhi, 5 to 6 a.m., Uvumbi Radio, Spiritual Matters. There is a God who answers prayers. Patana na mimi Jasiel, aka Fadela mwenyewe. It's been real. It's Godspeed and God bless.